Hey guys, Dave here from Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with the crew.
I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
And today we bring you a GM 911 from Kevin Von Felt. And so basically what he wanted to know is about running homebrew campaigns and adventures. Up until this point, he's run all modules, and he has run his players through the Mines of Foundover? How do you say it? You guys are looking at me blankly.
Yeah, I don't know that.
It's
I know
the
what
side-
it-
you
I
know
know
it
it.
is. You own it.
I know it, but I don't know how to say it. I always just skip it. I go, oh yeah, that FPH. I mean the PH word.
Yeah. So, Mines of Foundover, right? So the starter adventure for 5th edition D&D. He's run his players through it. He's kind of changed some things, adjusted the backgrounds, used custom player characters, and now he's segueing into a homebrew campaign. And, he wants to know how to create an adventure, when you're not using modules. He's like, do I write flavor text to read to the players? How do I build the encounters?
Wow. Well, I mean, for starters, we've got a lot of videos that we've done on Game Master tips. And when you're running for your first time...
Good call, Ted. Go to the Game Master tips playlist, watch all those videos.
And then
Comment, like, subscribe. No.
Don't forget to check us out on.
So when you're running a campaign in your own world for the very first time, without any of the support of a module, you want to kind of design your own module without you don't have to follow, letter by letter, encounter by encounter, but figure out what your little story arc is. Okay, are you sending the characters from town A into, dungeon B, and they've got to retrieve, some kind of item. If you're looking at something as a simple design like that, give a handful of NPCs that they're going to be able to interact with in town, one or two encounters in between the town and the thing, a handful of encounters, puzzles, traps, role play, interactive type stuff, inside the dungeon, and then have them be able to find what they're looking for and come back. You can put as much flavor text as you want when you're actually running the game, but you never want to overwrite it when you're actually planning the encounter. Give yourself enough, keywords, key factors in your description, in your notes. Paraphrasing, so that you've got the ability to really, spell it out and sell it while you're there without just sitting there reading what's in front of you.
Yeah, unless all of your players are they like fine literature, then you don't need to write it so it sounds fantastic. You need to write it so that later you're like, is this dungeon damp and dark, or are there torches? And why are there torches? Oh, that's because there's goblins in here, and they've got like a light source for their slaves or something. Like
many years ago, we had a friend who he modified a module, but he literally read the sentence to the players, the PCC, and none of us heard what the next part of the sentence was.
We're too busy laughing.
We were too busy laughing. So if you're writing the first time, you're writing your module for the first time, you want to interact with the players from their perspective. So it's you see or you encounter, because you're trying to get the players engrossed in what's in front of them, what's around them. You smell, you hear.
Yeah, you engage their five senses.
Right. So this way, you're not making a disconnect. When you say, the PCC or the player characters here, you're making a separation between them and their characters, and they're not getting engrossed or whatnot into the actual world.
So to answer the question, like, should I write my own flavor text like a module? My answer is, what do you feel comfortable with? If you're good at ad-libbing, then you may only need 3 sentences, and then you can run an adventure. I kind of do that a lot of times.
We're never going to get a module out of Dave.
Yeah. Well, write as much as you want to, and it really just depends on what your comfort level and how much time you have to invest in it. A good thing to check out for some ideas if you haven't picked it up yet is go over to nerdarchy.com. One of our side banners is the Lazy Dungeon Master. Go pick that up. It's it's under $10, and it's a really quick read, and it gives a lot of great tips for building adventure, but not sinking too much time and energy into it on things that your players aren't going to care about. It tells you how to steal from stuff. Like, you can literally just rip encounters from other adventures that are a bit pre-made and insert them into your game, and no one will ever know.
Right.
In the beginning, maybe you want to do a hybrid of writing your own material and stealing from published material, as you see fit. One, to save time, and two, to as a way of easing into it and increasing your and comfort level.
The other thing is when you do borrow from an established encounter, if it says, oh, this is an encounter for a third level party, that you can be able to put that in there because you know that somebody else has already done the math.
Yeah,
so
well, that's
just
true.
Okay, well, my players can be able to handle this because it's written in this module. Whereas when you're planning encounters yourself, you might have to sit there and pull out the pencil and mathify what you've got. Okay, well, how many sturges is good for a fourth level party? How many goblins can I insert in here? So you don't have to worry about figuring all of that stuff out. It's already done for you.
So let's do just a quick couple points, and we'll wrap this up for you guys. Keep it short and sweet. Where also, he's like, I have no idea what to do with my idea for the campaign, right? But he's already told us he's incorporated lore and stuff from a module, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to pick out a couple things from that could still affect things and isn't resolved.
Right.
So right there you have plots and adventure hooks. You said they made custom characters with backgrounds and everything's been customized. Look at that. There's plot hooks in there if you look for them, if you poke around, especially if they gave you backstory, and I think they did. Mm-hmm. So you can pull that into your game.
Yes, that's we've talked about this before. Session 0, very important. But when a player character gives you a backstory, there is something out there, be it a character that they've worked into their backstory, some kind of unresolved situation that they're looking for or that they're looking to do. Any of those things can be pulled in and filtered, and probably should be filtered somewhere into your eventual story arc, so that the character is number one, forced into the plot line because it's something that they want to resolve. It's why they put it in their backstory.
I wouldn't say forced.
Well,
are they developing a homebrew, or they have one already?
No, they just want to play in a homebrew. Which okay, let's face it, right? One of the best tips I ever found, and it took me years to break Ted of the habit of doing the opposite of this, is start small. You only need to flush out what your players are going to encounter and experience. Everything beyond that is a waste of your time, frankly. So don't, unless you really want to do it because you enjoy doing it, don't bother with the next town over if they're not going there.
Right.
Yeah. Things like, magic works differently, and so I need to figure out how it does. All right. If that's, that's a big, campaign thing.
Right.
But yeah, you don't need to develop 12 towns that they're not going to ever be to, so.
A handful of NPCs that they're going to encounter. A couple places where they might go because they're going to either need a place to stay or buy something. And really, it can just be a name. Some of this stuff you can even do on the fly if you're comfortable with it. The DM screen has, what happened now and a name generator. So there's some things there that are pretty helpful. Maybe come up with a list of 10 names that you just keep handy, and as you use them, cross it out, make a note who, why, where, what, when.
That's always the key factor, is whenever you do something on the fly and you say something, make sure someone, even if it's not yourself, someone writes it down, and then get all of those notes so that you can be able to build as you go. It saves prep time, and if you can do it, it makes things so much easier.
And it allows you the freedom to make up all kinds of stuff. Like, there's a type of tea that's found in a special place that's in my world. I just made it up, but I wrote it down so I could reference it later, so I'm not just spouting random information that never gets anywhere.
Or worse, you don't remember, but your players do.
Yeah, and they're like,
because that is kind of the stuff.
Wait a minute.
That's the stuff though that will latch
Yeah.
onto, because
Well,
you made the world a little more real for them.
Yes.
Look at my game. Evan wins, which somebody wound up naming after the third or fourth session of someone saying, oh, I got
place with the really good
place
bread.
with the really good bread.
Yeah.
So like, rather than naming the place, they just kept saying, oh yeah, it was just a place with the good bread. Well, eventually I'm like, well, what's it called? And somebody I don't remember who it was, but they're like, oh, it's called Evan Wins.
Scott did right away.
So
I think so.
I wrote that down, and now that's been a thing. Since it's been named, it's been used less. But every session it was called in before that.
And we have a city video talking about making a city and how strategies for doing it. I think that would be a good thing to check out as well,
Yeah.
because that breaks it down.
So do you have a last thought? You just want to give a last thought, and then we'll take this one out.
Check out the city video.
Okay.
No, I think we covered it.
Don't overthink it. That's my biggest thing. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Have fun. It's a game. You can't really break it. If something happens you don't like, you can always retcon it. This is not a novel. No one but your group really knows what happened. So as long as you guys are having fun, it doesn't matter.
Like that Johnny Cash song, One Piece at a Time.
One piece.
You can get a car out of it.
That's it. So with that, guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. If you got some advice for Kevin, feel free to share it. Like, subscribe, share. You know the drill.
You can follow us on Twitter.
You can also check out the articles on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.